All right, so this follow-up video is on mastering task management, and I can only speak from experience on what has helped me with that. For me, it has a lot of sense of accomplishment. And I, in fact, happen to have my, this is mine for today, and this is what I've been doing lately. I kind of mix it up in how I do this. I used to use these little Post-it notes, they're about this big. Well, I have so many tasks that just isn't enough. So the night before, as I'm relaxing, this is what I do. So this says Thursday, June 10th, and then I have it written down. And I'll try to prioritize it as best I can as I write it down, but it never shapes out perfectly. And then I'll focus on those the next day. And for me, I just feel good getting those done. That's part of it. The other part is I have a responsibility here. I'm the CEO of my company. Anyone who's watching this, you're a solopreneur, you're a network marketer, whatever your situation may be, you too have a responsibility. And I think this can be the bigger overarching challenge a lot of people have, is when they're coming from a space of, well, I only know how to work for someone else. Well, that's going to have to change. They're used to showing up and, okay, yeah, boss, tell me what to do and I'll do it. And other than that, they just kind of sit there, okay? You, as an entrepreneur, you can't just sit there and just wait to be told. You got to be in the figuring it out space. That's your responsibility. So as you're figuring it out and you determine what your tasks are to advance your goals and your objectives, then you got to list them out. You've got to prioritize them. Sometimes there's macro projects and there's micro. In fact, my list doesn't show that for today, but I'll have the daily, what I need to do, and then I have some weekly things that I need to get done that are a little more macro. You know, this is beyond 30, 60, and 90-day goals, that type of a thing. Just more on a granular level, how I structure this. So it's the daily, and then I'll have the weekly. So it's kind of within eyeball there of, yep, and I got to get that done by Saturday. I got to get that done. And so it's a responsibility. And then as I go through my day, I'm just checking them off. And a really good day, they're all checked off. I've had as many as on a given day, there might be 17 tasks, and I can look and go, wow. And I get really energized about this. Another tip that I can recommend is I use a timer, an egg timer, a kitchen timer. And it's like, and lockdown mode, and I turn it on, and I'll gauge it. I'll say, okay, I can get this task done in about 15 minutes, and I'll set my timer. And I can find out how fast I can perform. Not that speed is always the indicator that I want to use, but we live in the constraints of time. So I've got to quantify things in the context of time. Here's the expectation of when I can get this task done or how long it will take. And then I set myself up against the clock to get it done. And the last tip I'm going to give you in closing is in a workplace environment, when you're employed by someone, it's typically reward, punishment. School systems, reward, punishment. It's just kind of how human behavior is driven, is pleasure and pain. So why not exercise that upon yourself? You have to be a boss unto yourself, kind of like your higher self is looking over your shoulder. You've got to bring in line, beckon the higher self to keep you in line, so that you can stay on task. So the higher self is saying, look, here's what you need to do. You have to open up that conversation and let that happen. So map out for yourself personally the points of pain and pleasure. Hey, you know what, this is my big fat list today, and I'll tell you what, if I get this all done, and then you determine what the reward is. You go get an ice cream sundae, or you get to, you know, watch a program you like, or a movie, or whatever it is. You have to determine. Now that's pleasure. Humans will respond more to pain. So conversely, you should have a pain. Well, you don't get this and this until this. I operate mostly off of this, and I work pretty dang hard on myself. And I have to meet really huge reward or objectives to even get any semblance of a reward, a big one, so that I have really big drivers in place. And why do I do that? Well, we're in such an instant gratification society. We think we should be gratified constantly. And you're not going to do well as an entrepreneur if you feel you have to constantly get rewarded for every little teeny thing you do. So for me, I make it really big for me to earn, like let's say it's going to be a weekend away with my hubby or something like that, I gotta work real hard to accomplish that. And I set those standards high so that I perform. Others might not agree with that and might choose, oh no, I want to do it whenever I want. Okay, whatever, that's fine. I'm the CEO, I have a complete staff that works with me. I have to hold a higher standard to myself for my own personal work performance and demonstrate that, because they look to me for the leadership. Is she just kind of freewheeling doing her own thing, or is she staying on task? I'm going to give you a quick little example and then we'll give this one a wrap. I just watched this show last night. It was where they come in and they help people with their restaurant businesses. I think this one was for bars. And so this guy, I don't remember his name, he's helping this particular gal who owns a bar. And I couldn't believe it. He comes in with all the cameras, which has to be a very expensive endeavor, bringing in his whole team. They set up all the cameras to watch the behavior of the employees and find where the problems were. And they hunkered down in an empty apartment in the building next door so they could basically spy on her workplace. And so then he's asking her about her business and how often are you there? And she said, oh, about 5 hours a day, and you know, I got to do my workouts. And she was kind of giggling. And I thought, man, are you serious? You are in your restaurant 5 hours a day and you are that clueless to the problems going on, and so you bring this guy in? I thought that was a disgrace. I felt she was the problem with her business and didn't require these people to come in with their cameras to spy on her people. If she were in there managing and leading her company in the proper way, she wouldn't have any of those issues. So you have to be fully engaged in your business. No one cares about it more than you. This is why you should set the standards high. For when you reward yourself, you raise them high. Really expect great work performance on yourself. You got to lead yourself. Hope this has been helpful. You can leave comments below. Talk to you soon.